Hello, everyone. I must admit, when I first got the request to do a presentation about leadership, didn't sound too bad. Then leadership in a recession, I was trying to work out what the difference was. And in short, after thinking it through for a long time, I don't think there is any. All you have to do is to up your game a bit more and make sure the people around you up the game. So I've got some thoughts that I'm going to run through. Some of them you may have heard of. Hopefully there's some new ones in there for you. Just to give you a flavour, because I also think leadership is about continually learning. You never actually get to be a good leader. You're always on the way. So leadership in a recession. I think there are a few pointers that we need to look at. First of all, there are more external pressures. We've all heard the R word. We've heard credit crunch. We've heard downturn. And as a result, all of these thoughts and ideas that are bouncing around in the media create extra pressure on an organisation that, as leaders, we have to take on board and think about. Also, internal influences are greater. So the CEO is worried about reducing cost. One of the phrases I keep hearing is the CEO would like 20% more with 20% less. This then moves directly down to personal influences. Everybody within the organisation will be worried about their job security. They will be worried about where the organisation's going and does it have the strength to get through the downturn. So as a leader, you have these points putting extra pressure on what is probably already quite a challenging role. My thoughts on this are along the lines of you've got to demonstrate that you're listening to the CEO, always a good thing to do. You're listening to your peers, but you're also listening to your line managers and their direct reports. Demonstrate that you're listening in your actions. But don't lose sight of personal development. The reason being is you may have to develop different skills to get through the recession and come out the other side stronger, but also this gives you something to celebrate at a later date. It's great to go out with the troops and the team for a few beers on a Friday night, but make sure you cut and run at about 11 o'clock, because after that, the alcohol starts to kick in and you could end up in some difficult conversations, which fundamentally the next day you have to sort out. So to avoid the problem, don't be there. I think in the modern era, leaders have to be approachable. It's the only way that you'll get those sound bites from your team and from the troops on the ground on what's going on and what they think we can do to improve the business and take it forward. Martin Luther King used the word dream 9 times, and he used the phrase, I had a dream 7 times within 3 minutes. If it's important, you need to tell people a number of times to get the point across. What you also need to do as a leader is to have that thinking time and preparation time. And the modern day technology does not want you to do that. Blackberries, emails, text messages, calendar appointments, reminders about calendar appointments, they all pop up on your screen to stop you doing and thinking about the bigger picture. So make sure that you take time out to have that thinking and preparation time. Work from home for half a day. Technology allows it now. It just stops people walking past your office, and because you're there, they will ask the question. Personally, I use the Institute of Directors. I log on there for my email, keep an eye on it in the background, and then have a morning of thinking and planning for the future. And the other trick I use is I arrange to have meetings or telephone conversations with what I call thought provokers. People who will get me thinking about the bigger picture. The last thing I want to do is to talk to someone on the phone that morning about operational issues. You need to be thinking about the next 3, 6, 12 months, not the next 3 hours. As a result, you're one step ahead, you're better prepared. And one of the things you want to develop within a recession is the confidence in the leadership. Confidence in the leadership can come along in many guises, but one of the ones is when you're in that meeting, someone suggests something, and because you've had time to think, you turn around and say, great point, I was only thinking about that the other day, and here are my suggestions. Here are my thoughts on that idea. The way I look at how to prepare is to use the 5 Ps. Now, it always is prior preparation prevents poor performance. So whether it's that big meeting, that big presentation, or an individual one-to-one with your direct reports, make sure you've prepared for it. So, strategy. I've delivered a number of different strategies for organisations over the years. When I was the MD of a reseller, we had the average age of all of the employees was 27 years, and as a result, they were in their first or second jobs. And they hadn't come across words such as vision or strategy, business plans, values. It was all new to them. So what I did is I took a diagram that showed a route and described the journey we were going to take the business on and related that back to how you take a journey. So for example, the car's dashboard was people's personal objectives. The strategy was the route around the M25 and up the A3. The vision was where we're going to end up. I related that to them, and I also related who was responsible for what parts of that plan and that strategy. The individual was responsible, backed up by the managers. So it wasn't always top down. There had to be feedback from the floor, and hence you get more buy-in to the strategy. So my take on strategy is to keep it simple, stupid. I think leaders currently have to be reassuring, they have to be brave, they also have to be enthusiastic. This is a clip from Sky News website, and it's from their business page. And as you can see, business leaders fear a double-dip recession, UK gilts on a bed of nitroglycerin, recession over, but it's still a long way to go, and my great friend Randall, an enter a recession question mark. So you've got this in the media all day, every day, and people are listening to that. So you need to combat that with your own PR and your own marketing within the organisation. So the first point is look back at the history and remind the individuals what they and the organisation have achieved over the months and the years previously. Remind them the strengths of the organisation and how that will help you move the organisation out of the downturn and be one of the strongest players moving forward. But also look for new ideas. This goes back to the approachability earlier on. You can get the new ideas from your team. You need to make sure they understand you don't have a monopoly on them. I certainly never did. And also you need to give them recognition for those ideas as well. Personally commit to the plan, standing in front of them telling it, but also getting your hands dirty. Make sure that they see that you're on the floor, working with them and getting involved in the plan. Actions obviously speak louder than words. In summary, I found this quote recently. Provide a clear picture of what needs to be done. Clarity is key. Focus on the key strengths of the business. Make sure you're brave, determined. I'd probably add in a little bit pig-headed and stubborn in there. But also make sure that your communication is authentic, because people will pick up on that. They will buy in if you buy in. That was from Justin King, the CEO of Sainsbury's, when talking about organisations in a recession. What I've tried to do is to articulate the fact that you're always at work and people are always watching you as a leader. You've got to be approachable, you've got to have clear communications, you've got to have thinking time, a good, clear strategy that fits the individuals within the business and the business. But fundamentally, I think you have to up your game. You have to do that 20% more that you expect the business to do. You've got to do that yourselves and take the mantle, grasp the leadership role by the scruff of the neck really, and make sure that you are leading from the front. I think there is no other way of leading. Leading from 15 miles behind the front line went out with World War I. It's all about leading from the front, but it can be quite unnerving. By taking it by the scruff of the collar, what you do is you take control of leadership, you take control of the role, and as a result, that's where you'll start to get people following you.